Hello future tech leaders, I am Sindhuja. Based on my own experience, I know that learning the right skills can shape our future. What if I say learning was as thrilled as the tech world itself? There we go. A CloudFoundation, that's exactly what you will experience. From day one, you will be immersed in the interactive sessions and expert-led courses that covers most of the widely used technologies in the zone of data science to cloud computing, which brings more light to the life of a techie. I'm so excited to help you and unlock the true potential of a technology. Well, then why to wait? Let's see what it unfolds.
And yes, can I just move on with the PEGA installation? When I talk about PEGA's installation, PEGA application is basically a web application. Right. It's not a desktop application. Earlier, it was all about the basic stuff. As we understood what is process, business process, BPM, the advantages, features a lot of stuff. After that, we moved on to understanding the PEGA platform, the features, the capabilities that it offers on stuff. And we have seen the different studio roles as well. Now let us go into the installation. How do you deal with the installation of PEGA? When I say PEGA application, it's basically a web application. It's not a desktop application like your Excel, PowerPoint. It's not a desktop application. You mean that whatever change you make in the live environment, it will take effect immediately, isn't it? You need not go and deploy it separately. You deploy it on the go, isn't it? Like whatever change you do. Correct. At least if you are dealing with one specific environment, the changes that you do will definitely be impacted. You don't need to restart your servers or deploy it, then build all of that. It's just a click of a button like deploy. Exactly. Your deployment is more like within the environments. When I move my code from dev to QA, we call it deployment. Or from QA to prod, we call it deployment. Right. It's like that. But not within the same environment. But if you're doing any changes, like a small change you're doing in the live directly, then it will be immediately live. There's nothing stopping it. And also when I say it's a web application, if it would all, I'll be able to the application through a web browser. Right. And when I try to open or access a web application, I can access it through a web browser. Obviously, because it's a web application. It's a web application, right? And also talking about the installations here, I can do it in two ways. One is the personal edition, which is like a practice version of the platform. This is more like a practice version, the personal edition. This one you can't use for the enterprise thing, isn't it? It's not allowed. It's a lighter version which is defined for the practice. Is this version you're giving me or? Correct. We would be personal edition. Because enterprise edition, it has to be like a licensed version that need to be purchased. Right. And also when I see it as a web application, you definitely need server for it to host the application and application. And also a DB server is also required to manage the databases, the DB tables and stuff. Now, when I need an app server and DB server, a personal edition, you don't need any other explicit installations here. It comes with the Tomcat app server and Postgres SQL DB server. Packaged everything. It's kind of packaged. They have defined that you would be using a Tomcat app server and a Postgres DB server. But when it comes with Postgres, I never use that one. What is that? PostgreSQL. PostgreSQL. It's like a DB server, like your Microsoft SQL listed. I beam in DB2. You can say a server, but you can connect to any of the databases, isn't it? Otherwise, in the enterprise, like whichever you want to. Correct. In Enterprise Edition, we can have our choice, but with the first edition. I get it. I'm just checking if in Enterprise you can connect to anything. Correct. In fact, in Enterprise, I could use other app servers also. Like I could use IBM WebSphere, or I could use JBoss, or I can also use Oracle servers. All those are possible. Oh, even the server. It's not that it isn't. And even for my also, I could use IBM and DB2. Microsoft SQL could be used. Oracle could be used. Depending upon the client's choice, I can choose a combination of these and have my enterprise. And it can connect to the world. World kind also, like the legacy. Once you have installed your PEGA application, once your PEGA installation is successful, the team will help you out on that. No worries. Once it is full, let me show you. You will get to see these three icons on your screen. You will get to see the PEGA login and down and start. Three icons or three shortcuts will be available on the screen. Each time you have to work on your personal edition, you need to start your server first. You just double click on the startup and then you have a command prompt running in the back. You see a message called server start. After this, you will just need to click on login and you can see these three. Once you are able to see this home screen, which means your installation is successful. Let me log in. And initially, when your login screen or this whole screen, it doesn't immediately pop up. It will take, a few minutes. Because for the first time, it's running the server in the background, isn't it? But slowly, when you start using it, you'll see that it is being sped. Let me just log in. This is for working when the client uses it, they will have only the pip. Alright. When the client uses it, I don't need to have all this local hostage arrays and all of that. It would just this one. It will be running in one place in the server or in the cloud, but they will be using a web access. Correct. Zec. Right? This is how it looks like. I'm currently launched onto the Dev Studio. This is how the Dev Studio works. If I want to switch to other studios, I can switch. First, let us see what do we have on the Dev Studio. Each year is divided into 4 parts, with the top portion where you see the studio, the application platform. Then there's some on figure. We have to import a lot of things. There are some launch portal. Create options. There's some search button. All of this is added. This is called your header area. What's it? What is it? Header area. Header area. And on the left panel, you see you can explore a lot of things. the reasons, case data types, app records, and a lot of other things. This is called the Explorer panel. It's called the Explorer panel. It's called the Explorer panel. The first one is called the header area. Then you have Explorer panel. This is your Explorer panel where you can explore things. And on the bottom you have Agile Workbench, Current Works, Scenario, Testing Issues, Tracer Clipboard on the bottom of the screen. This is part of your developer toolbar. This is typically used for the developers. When do you know B things or to look up to deep good things, they run and they check for the result. And then the fourth one, the major portion of the screen that is occupied, the center part is called the work area, where you actually work. That's called the work area. Any studio you take, they will have all these parts, but the features would be respective to that particular studio. On a dev studio, if you see, there are a lot of things on the developer tool. But when I switch to the App Studio, we'll see what App Studio has. On an App Studio, can you expect a developer toolbar to have all the features? Developer toolbar. Probably few, but not everything. Not everything. Exactly. We have all the 4 parts available in every studio. But the features are respective for that studio. In the dev, it will be very deep, but they have to do everything. Exactly. Dev is like everything is put under the dev. Features of all the studios can be accessed in dev. Right. This is the App Studio. This is App Studio. The one we would be, going forward, we'd be using it very much. Is this what the business analysts really use? This one. And sometimes we will also be switching on to the Dev Studio. Sometimes we get to do that. It's not like I'm a BA. I would only confine myself to have Studio. Of course, also we need to look after a few things on the Dev Studio. That's what I'm thinking. Once I'm able to complete this course, then I'll think of doing the CSA and just go first. And on the Explorer panel, here you see there are like separate features. Are there like channels, user settings? These are specific to the App Studio. Then do I have a developer toolbar here? I have very limited set of options. I still have it, but very limited set because I have a B. What is that? Like a disabled symbol. What is that? Which one? This one. No, the last one, the disabled symbol. This one. It looks like a disabled symbol. That's in fact true. That's what I mean. PEGA lets people with disabilities also access the applications. They tend to, provide special features for these kind of people. Oh, that's great. People with color blindness could be there, right? Or people with disabilities in hearing could be there. They tend to provide some options for them as well. That's great. And then the work area is completely different here than what we saw on the Dev Studio. When I just go looking on the Admin Studio, it would also be different. But they are the one will have access to everything and they will be the one who will setting up roles. I think, isn't it? I mean, in PEGA, I think the word for admin is kind of, tricky. Different. Generally, admin is the one who he can do anything. He can manipulate anything. But in PEGA, all of that is done on the Dev Studio. Developer? Correct. On the Admin Studio, I don't have anything like security or, restrictions, manner are possible here. They only look after the background stuff. Like what jobs are running or what nodes my application is being hosted on. Sort of bad stuff are not. This accessibility developer also will have. This is the Explorer panel here and you still have a developer toolbar. A few features better than what Abhi has, but lesser than what a developer has. And this is my work area where you get to see the nodes, agents, jobs, all of it. And you look at the Prediction Studio. This is your Prediction Studio where again the header area is different. On the Explorer panel, you get to see the models, adaptive, predictive text related models and all. And your models are provided by the platform already. If you think any of that could be of use, you can utilize that. If not, we can create our own models also. You have a button called New here, and if we have the products that are available to us, we can use that. And in the other words, we can use, that's what we can use. We can use a model for our models. These are like the default provided models. If any of them suit our requirement, we can use it. If not, we can create our own models. You have a button called New here. That depends on the business users, isn't it? Predictive, adaptive, categorization, extraction models and all. We can use them. Correct. And we have a bit of debugging here also, if required. And where does the reporting fall? Reporting could be done from the App Studio, or you can also do it from the Dev Studio. Major from the Dev Studio. And we have separate portals for it where you can create reports and all. It's not, like specific to a particular studio, but it's a completely different portal there. Depending upon end user, it's more like, you mean in the reports you need to write actual queries or it is all automated like you need to just drag and drop? Both are possible. Drag and drop from the end user perspective. Queries from the developer perspective. Both are possible. Oh, like if they want something specific, they can ask the developer to build it for them. Correct. As a developer, we can do it, or you can let the end user also run his own reports. You can. That is already enabled. Correct. Correct. That's like standard what comes in Vega. But if you want to do anything, you need the developer app to already build, and then the end user can run it from wherever they say. Not required. Not required. Even we can enable the end user also to build his own custom reports. We can do that. It's not like whatever is there run that. Along with it, he can also generate his own reports. Possible. And in fact, we'll be looking at that as well. Because I know that's one of the important concepts when you work with the top management. They're more interested in reports, or the reports come out rather than anything else. That's very true. Very true. That's what I work because SAS is a mid-size company. I always work with the board. They are more interested in the report rather than how the system is doing. Exactly. They're not more on the technical stuff. What goes behind, but only the reports are important. And they need it very urgently every time. It's pressure. I understand. Right. I mean, to get started with developing some transactions, or typically in PEGA terminology, we call them case types. Case type is nothing but a transaction here. Now, in order to, can I relate to something in other systems like each workflow is called a case type? Is that something like that? Workflow. You could say that. You could say because you build for every case, like every scenario, you will have a workflow, isn't it? Correct. You can call that for now. To build that you're called workflows or to build the business transactions, I need an application first. Right. This is a PEGA platform directly, but I don't want this. I want to build my own application for practice or for whatever organization you are looking for. Let us see how an application could be built. In order to build your application, it's only from the Dev Studio, not from any other studios. Yes, let us focus on building the application. And then we'll see how to transactions. In order to build, I need to go to the header area on the Dev Studio. And this is called your application menu. Once I click this drop down or that expand button, I see different options here where I have a new application. Before that, let me just do one thing. Just give me a moment. Now, like once I click on this new application, it gives me a wizard. Now, wizard and PEGA is, like the term we regularly come across. It's like some set of steps that are involved. This opens up a new application creation wizard for me. There are like some 3 to 4 steps that are involved in an application creation. First step is what kind of application I'm going to build. We have two application types, Cosmos and Classic. Classic is something which is like a PEGA's legacy approach for the UI. All the aspects of conventional legacy UI is included. Whereas with Cosmos, you can have these new features of React. You can integrate your application to React. And now some new front-end technologies can be incorporated in Cosmos. But most applications, we tend to see they are built on Classic. Why do you think that? Because they already had some legacy. They want to connect. This Cosmos is like newly introduced. I mean with the N.2 version. Then there's still learning. Not like a standardized approach yet. People are still following the old legacy, one only far. There's now a new concept of AI also, isn't it? It is still available in Classic. Just the UI, the view is different. That's the best of it as all. That is still the next to say. Can you call that? Cosmos is a bit. It has Classic, but it has much more. You can say Classic is like a subset of Cosmos. I think it's just people are not adapted to it. In future, this will be the place where you will be doing it, isn't it? We would be looking at both of these anyways, but to start off that, let's go with the basics. Let's do the Classic type. And with Classic, what happens is there are no predefined case types or data types. It's just like an empty or a sheet of data. Nothing is predefined. Nothing is available. Whatever I want, I can build here. Let's use this application type. Now, what is the name of the application that you're going to? What kind of application are you going to build? For example, you have to build an application for recruitment. Before clicking on Create Application, there's something else that I have to do. Click on Advanced Configuration. When I build a PEGA application, it's obviously for an organization. It's not for one single person, right? There are some sort of settings that we need to look after: application settings and organization settings. What are those? Here comes your application structure. What kind of application you're going to build? Is it a framework application or is it an implementation? Now, what is this framework and implementation? Framework. I think by the name itself, we can understand that if you build something as a framework, it is reusable. It's like you are building some standard of things which could be reusable later. Implementation is something which is customized, which is for specific use. It cannot be reused. It is our choice whether this application should be. Is there a scope for reusability in the future or this? Is this only customized for a particular requirement? Is it a good idea to always build it as a framework or really impact somewhere if you use it as customized? Because if you can use framework in one place and in all place, then that's the better approach, isn't it? When it comes to all IT terminologies, I'll put it this way. Suppose you can build a framework for an account in the organization. All the accounts all the projects in that account can have their own implementations. Right. Throughout the account, I would be using a single framework application. But on top of that, I will build a separate implementation for each of those projects. I can do that, right? If you use ability, then I will go for this framework. For now, I'm just going for framework. We will also build an implementation as well once this is done. Now, what is your application ID? It would generally take the first 8 characters. I'm just putting it for a crew. Is that the unique idea to call that framework later? Right. Then comes your version, 001. Here, what are these 3 O's? And starting from right to left, this 011 represents the patch version. Changes related to bugs or issue fixes that might have done will be taken care in this patch version. You increment the patch version when you are dealing with some bug fixes and issues. If you look at the patch version, then you have the minor version. The second one is called the minor version. This is incremented for any minor changes or features in your application. Whereas major version is incremented when you are dealing with some major enhancements. Each one of it represents a specific version of your application. Now the best practice is always go with 0101. I can have 213141 as a version. The system is not going to stop me. But if I have that, a typical PEGA developer will understand that 20 major versions have been released, 30 minor versions have been released, 40 patch versions have been released. That's how they'll interpret that. We'll always go with the first one. The first one is, what is it called? The first one from left. The first one from left, what is it called? This is. Right one is major minor. That's called cop. Thank you. Got. Thank you. Major minor patch. My application structure is ready. Then, for which organization are you building this application for everyone? Because it cannot be a single user, a single person. It should be an organization. It should be an organization. My organization is some XYZ. Then, within the organization, do you have any departments? And within those departments, do you have any sub-departments? Those can be at the division and unit. You can use like recruitment division. Correct. Suppose recruitment is obviously built for HR services. I mean, because that's part of my division could be HR. And unit would be recruited. It could be recruitment. It could be onboarding. Like that. Or it might be employee engagement resignation. Like what I can have different units under HR. Whichever. I will use it. Or on the other hand, I can have geographic aspects also. Suppose my application, I'm targeting for India. And within area, do have any branches? Right. It could be like I can have it in Mumbai, Chennai, Hyderabad. Likewise. My division unit could be geographic aspects or functional aspects. Or you can have a combination of both. Depends on the cloud. Now, depending upon these two, my application settings and organization settings together, something called as glass structure is being built. We will see very clearly about what is glass structure going forward. But for now, it is just a combination of app settings and ARCS settings. And this F, bow in between, shows that it is a framework-based application. This application is a book application. This advanced configuration is very important because that's where your class structure, but it doesn't show up in the front page, isn't it? If you're using for the first time, you will not even want it. Like few people have come across, without even clicking on advanced configuration, they click create. Even I do. Because it for the first time, it doesn't look like anything important. But this is very, very prominent. Because your application, your organization, all of it is, here is where it is defined. If you click straight, what will happen? It takes something default and goes in. Correct. You will still be creating an application, but you don't know where you're building it. When you search for it, is it a problem later? No, but you do not know what is the organization, division and unit. It takes some default value, right? That's what it's related to recognize it. It will be difficult, isn't it? Let's save it and click on Create Application. This might take a moment because a lot of rules will be created in the back. From where is it picking up the roots? It will create new rules for your application. We will be seeing a lot of rules built on the application. I mean, like few things. But we have not told it anything, isn't it? How will it be building the rules? Few are like the default ones. They will be provided by the platform. And few are organizing the settings that you gave, the type of application you give. Few rules will be created from that inputs. And then on that you can build your own customized rules. Now, once the application is created, we will try to define like two case types. Case type as in some transactions that might be there on the recruitment application, onboarding or something like that. Right. What transactions do you think we may have under recruitment? Under you mean onboarding or it's about recruitment? Recruitment. Anything on the recruitment. You can say the manager posts the vacancy. Then the recruitment team makes everything ready for that to be published in the net. And then the applicant will apply from there. The process starts. Right. Correct. That's one. And once the applicant has cleared, then there will be an onboarding process with the recruitment team will have the onboarding process for that. You can build those transactions. That's the way that you can do that. My current role is I work very close with the recruitment. It's HR. My specialization in ERP is on our side itself. It's really connecting. It's good to your doing project in this. I can understand. I see the application is created. But now I need to add in some operators, add in some users here. Right. Let's add it. And if you see, I have two roles available, admin and author. Admin is like an administrator. One author is for our base. I am going to create both the users. Both the user roles. I'll just name it admin at RHC. What does this do? This is for creating operators or creating users for because I need to log in into the application, right? The application is created. Good. But I need to have users to work on it. Everybody can't log into this application until you give access. Now you need to give this username and password to them to log in. I just want to access your code. They cannot unless the access is provided. These are like for two users. I'm creating one username password for each of them. One for the author and one for the admin. I'll just make a note of these. Yes, we have created application. We have created the users. Right. Now I have two options. Either I can just click on done to close this wizard, or I can just log off to not actually log off from this administrator. Just click on done and I'll also show you where to log off. Here on the left corner, you will be able to log off from the application. Now from admin user, I went on to the Dev Studio to create a framework application. I've created users and then I logged off from that. This time I will log in with this one. I'll log in with the new user. What is the difference between admin and author? The roles. Here admin can access all the three studios. Prediction Studio will not come by default, but the rest of the studio all access to me, the admin. Whereas author can access only app and dev, not admin studio. Now, if I just try to log in, I'll show you that anyways. Oh, here now, I think admin comes. This is the real administrator, I think, isn't it? Like who creates the application, in this case in PEGA. Is that? Like how we went and created applications. In the larger enterprises, we might request, like if you're doing a real-time project, you might have to request admin to create the necessary things for you, isn't it? Exactly. And then they will give you the username, password, and then you can log in and do it. And as this is a default password, I'm suggested for a change password screen. I'm going to go to the admin and I've just put the rules. Rules is like the universal, like a password. You see, by default, I'm launched onto the admin studio. Because the role that I've chosen earlier is an admin for this particular user. Right. As I've chosen the role to be an administrator role, my default portal is set to admin. Still, I can go ahead and I can launch any other students as well. Now, for example, let us see how it looks for an author. I'm going to just take this author. Let me just use the default password here. Let me log in. And here also I get my change password. Screen appears. Let me just put a few rules and see. Let me just it will take some time. Yes, now from the admin, from the author operator, I can only launch the app. You know this one. Yes, once I log in with this user, you see I've got App Studio by default because there's an author here. And I can also launch App Studio if required. But I don't have access to other studios. Like I cannot access Prediction Studio and Admin Studio. These are like the default behaviors that are provided. Right. Now what I'll do, maybe I'll just go to case types here to define two case types. I'm not going to design the complete life cycle now, but I'll just define two case types that these are going to be my transactions. What are those? Maybe one for recruitment and one for onboarding. Let me define two of them. Now let me just launch these case types. A case type is where you define your business transaction. You see, I can only access two studios, app and dev, not the other admin studios and prediction studios and all of that. I'm on the case type explorer and I'm going to add a case type. What are we going to add? One case type for recruitment and one for onboarding. Defining the case type or designing the life cycle. We'll probably see it on the next session. Now I'm just going to add the recruitment case type. Let me click on next. Both you create at the same time if you want to. Sorry, I did not get that. No two case types. I thought one after the other you create. You create first both the case types which you want to do it. Not together. It's like one after the other only. I mean both. I cannot simultaneously. First I need to create the recruitment. Then one more case type for onboarding. Maybe one more case type for resignation could be there. Like all those things that are related to HR services. I'm going to build an application. And now as this is a framework application and I have two case types, the next thing maybe I wanted to do is I want to reuse these case types or whatever I have in this framework application. I wanted to reuse it. And I build a new application on top of that. For example, I want to build an application in Java using Spring or Hibernate. In the Hibernate are like frameworks. Java is a platform. Correct. Or you can say a programming language. Now I start and write the code for the Spring and Hibernate. Right. I don't need to write it from. I couldn't hear in between. What did you say? My requirement is suppose I want to build an application in Java with Spring and Hibernate. Now will I start certain write the code for Hibernate now? Because someone has already written it. It's available. You were just trying to put it on this one. You're just trying to build on that. Exact. I can reuse it. Someone has already written it. Reuse it. It's a free. It saves me a lot of time and effort. Here also. Now, if I want to reuse these features of this recruitment application, I will use this. You can call this there. You can call as well as the functionality and then you can reuse it there. That's what you want. Correct? Now I'm trying to show you that I'm going to use this recruitment and onboarding case types. I want to reuse them in the new application that I'm going to build. Let's see how that is possible. Is this still loading? Wait, let me just review. This is like a very basic stuff, but an important stuff when it comes to building the applications. We have to do this. We have to do this. We have to do this. Generally, an LSA would be doing it to decide what application are we going with or what organization structure we are going with. All that would be divided or decided by the LSA. Now I have a type called recruitment. Let me add one more case type for onboarding. Where did this come? Manager's user. It created itself. Except, I told you right, lot of rules would be created. A few of those are, oh, because you told recruitment, it picked up all those things. No. For any application, you will have this manager and end user portal. Any application, you will have it. Sorry, this is in a different way. I mean, the system doesn't know like what domain you are using it because just this is a plain. I got it. It doesn't know what users will be there, which operators will be there. It doesn't know anything. This is like managers and users. It's in the system view. It is getting it. Why is it taking long to build all those in the background? Initially, yes, to get all the stuffs related to that. I mean, there's a reason why the system is a little slow when you create a brand new application. Slowly it takes up speed. There's a valid reason for that to happen. There's no process in the back and control resolution that's responsible. You know, sort of this delay. I think yes, the onboarding case type is created. And I'm not going to life cycle. You know how the process does. I'm not going to define all of that. Let me just see this. We are doing it later. Correct? Now I mean today, it's all about building the applications. How you can build, you can manage. Because processes are built by business analysts also, isn't it? Correct. Correct? We will be looking at that probably in the next session. Now on the case types. I have two case types, onboarding and recruit. Now my requirement is I would want to build a new application. Using this recruitment application. I mean, either I could do it from the current author login, or if you want an admin application to do it, that is also fine. Because both of the rules have access to the Dev Studio. Let me switch to the Dev Studio. How do I do it? The same process again. Let me go to the application menu. And whatever we have case types we created on the App Studio, they will be available in Dev Studio actually. Because they are part of the same application. Just that the view is different, but the features still remain the same. Because you have logged in as to both, the users will be able to see. That isn't it. You have logged in as an application user. Now this author, if he is trying to create an application. Now tell me which type of application should I choose. You're going to build on this. My requirement is I would want to reuse these two case types. Oh, you're going to reuse these two case types. Then it will be Cosmos. I have like two case types already on the framework application, right? Onboarding and recruiting. Just like your Spring and Hibernate. Now I want to build an application on top of that Spring and Hibernate. It will be not reused. You will be. You want to reuse it, isn't it? Correct? Correct. The recruitment application has the onboarding and recruitment transactions. Now I want to reuse my built-on application should be what? In the sense I was not seeing that it's recruitment leagues. Because it's a framework we have built and you want to reuse that framework. That's what you meant. I was not seeing that. I was seeing really Cosmos and class. I couldn't see that. It's not classic because I don't want to build it from scratch. You have this recruitment framework. You're going to build your application on that. You're using this framework. Perfect. Now I'll have an option in the system shows what all teachers you wanted to reuse. You can choose. You have these two options. What you want to reuse. You can pick it from there. Assuming I want both, because I never know what you want to do it. You will take the whole framework and go forward. And there are something called as data types, which we do not know yet. Nothing's available. I'm just going to continue. This I'll name it recruitment IMPL just for us to understand itself. This is your application which you're building on top of it. And again I should go to advanced configuration. This time I'll choose this to be an implementation application. There we make the choice. I can have it a framework as well, but I want it to be an implementation, and you see the organization division unit have been populated. Because the framework that you have chosen. Interesting thing here is this doesn't have any F view here, because if it's the implementation, you don't have that F thing on your class structure. And you can also see how your class structure could be. Some XYZ recruitment. IMPL-work is inheriting from XYZ framework recruitment. It clearly shows that you are reusing from the frame. Like each being reused from its framework entity, like that. I think let me just create the application. This one again, you need to log into the now. While you're creating your new implementation project, you come up back to because you're switching screens. I can see that. You're coming back not to the application. You're going to the PEGA admin tool and creating one more project, isn't it? Right. Correct. This project is you have come out of those two applications and you're again going to the first place where we opened it. No, I did not go to the administrator at the PEGA. Rather, I logged into this admin we just created. admin@rec. Oh, in that only you're creating one more project, implementation project. And you're calling the frameworks. That is why you see the admin, the one which the current user who logged in he created. But the other author can't create one more project. He can only work on the project. Author also could do, but he also has to switch to the Dev Studio only. Whatever the role might be, I can only create applications from Dev Studio, not from any other studio. If you have given access to Dev Studio, they can create their own application in spite of having the frameworks. They can build on that. Now, if you want to, or they can create new also. In the sense, new also, without using. Correct. You can also have admin rec mpl. and just that for specific to implementation. If you need any operators, you can create this. This user, the first one that I've logged in, has access to both the applications now. The one who created the implementation, right? Definitely he will have access to both. But this admin RICMPL has access only to the implementation application, not the other applications. I mean, getting it all the confusing. It is one step further. Now you have to log into that one, is it? Correct. You can build it. To build it. Or can you build it from your own app store like admin from the top? Here, if you observe, I can just click on done to close this wizard. Or I can directly go to the app. Current app that I am in is recruitment. Right. It will come over there. Your project will come there. The application is recruitment. Now, when I see the application has, let me check the built on applications. Is it built on something or what? We will see that any application you take in PEGA is built upon the UI kit. All your UI that you see on the screen is responsible, or it is because of the UI kit. Recruitment applications are framework applications. Correct. Now when I switch, you have an option that you can switch to recruitment IMPL because this user has access to. Oh, this is like a super user and they have, but if you log into, if you have given only access to this one, then you need to log into that specific implementation project. Correct, isn't it? Correct. Now this admin and app from where you're creating, that is a superset and the other one is the subset. Correct. You can see. If you log into the recently created one, you will get that framework, but you will not have access to change that framework. Correct? Correct. Now you are in the RECIMPL application. And if I look at the application definition, what do you think will be the built on application? Will it be UIKit? No, it will be recruitment. Exactly. RICMPL is based upon recruitment. And once you open the recruitment, it will be built upon UIKit. It will be inheriting everything and coming to this one. You can because UIKit is the basic which should be having every bigger one. And then on that you build a recruitment and now you're reusing it in somewhere else. You will have both of them there. Perfect. Now, I think we are like close to end the session, but with probably a few questions from my side now. Can I make a framework application on top of another framework application? Is that possible? Can a framework application can be built or can have one more framework? No, just like this. Now IMPL is built upon recruitment. Correct. Similarly, can a framework application have or be built upon another framework application? Can I do that? I think possible. Because you can pull that and you can build more on that. It's like building on Java, isn't it? On Java, you can build one. They have their own libraries and then again you use your framework. And again, on that framework which is already given by someone, on that you build your own framework. Is this possible? Implementation on top of framework is implementation. In the sense you have a framework and you want to build the implementation project. In fact, that is what we did right. That's good. Now what about this? Can I reuse the implementation to build a framework? I was trying to show you like I just tried to create a new application here again. But can I see Recruit IMPL? I only see recruitment, which is a framework. Implementation project. You can't build again, reuse it, isn't it? Exact. Correct. This is not possible. And what about this implementation on top of another implementation? Possible. Perfect. Because implementation can't be used anywhere, isn't it again? Correct. That's the whole point. Framework. If it is a framework, I can reuse it across other applications. In fact, I can go on with different levels of reuse of frameworks. It can go on. And on frameworks, you can build your own. Right. But whereas with implementation, I cannot reuse it. The reverse is not possible. That's all, isn't it? Perfect. Perfect. Alright. Now, if you observe in recruitment IMPL, I have both my case types. And these are coming from your framework. That's how you can reuse a lot of tools from the framework applications. Then go to the store. Thank you. Thanks for joining. Thank you. Thank you. Have a good day. Thank you. And finally, do not forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel.